Hi, this is Leonard Kish with HealthIT.tv. Happy to be here with my friend and colleague in the Denver health tech startup scene, Chris Saxman. He's the COO of CirrusMD, which has had a really great couple of years now of steady growth and some pretty big wins as a telemedicine company that's focused more on value-based care. And we'll get into that maybe a little bit, but first I want to talk about, you came from New York, and you're part of the angel investor community out there, and moved to Colorado. And what prompted the move, and what have you seen in Colorado?
Sure. So, well, I decided, my wife and I decided to move to Colorado because, New York's a great place to live for a period of time.
Yeah.
But living there all my life, that wasn't really what I wanted to do. So I was looking for a community that had a strong innovation focus, a good startup community. Probably it would be nice if there was a good, strong university culture there. And Colorado, more specifically, the Boulder area where you and I both live, offered that.
Right.
But probably the biggest reason we moved out here is that it's the only place in the country where we both have family. So my wife's uncle is here, and my cousin lives here, and so we've got a nice nucleus of family, and that's really important to us. And so, and it doesn't hurt, by the way, that Colorado's just beautiful, might I add.
Right. Yeah,
There's that.
Helps.
There's that.
Yeah, and you can still afford to raise us as a family, and then the outdoors obviously are phenomenal.
Are phenomenal, and yeah, you can get and there's a good sense of community. And I think what I've found, that gets a good segue into what I've found here. I really knew, but have been coming here has really reinforced the value of having a strong community and having people in that community that are supportive of each other. And I found that the ability to meet people and the collaborative nature of the Colorado, especially the tech community, is unparalleled. I mean, in fact,
Brad Feld wrote a book called, I think it's called Startup Communities, where he talks about, the kind of trust and the kind of give first mentality that's required. And I think, he's really seen that and is a big fan and has been a big part of what's happened in Boulder around becoming such a startup hub that's now, and really in the last 3 years, it seems like it's moved down to Denver a lot more. And now I think Denver was just picked as one of the top startup communities in the country. It's really amazing what's happening there.
Well, it's absolutely right. In fact, most people don't know this, but at least in terms of number of startups, Colorado, the Front Range of Colorado, which goes from Fort Collins to Boulder to Denver to Colorado Springs, is the number 2 community in the entire country, after the Valley. The Valley, of course. But that's absolutely right. And I think that culture of give before you get, which is pervasive in Colorado, really has been one of the key underpinnings of that success we've had.
Yeah, and you and I actually got, we're both involved, I think, in health tech. We're thinking about it nationally, but then you and I started this Health 2.0 community in Denver back, 3 years ago now or so, with the kind of same idea in mind, to bring more entrepreneurs together and through some of that, but more through now the Prime Health Collaborative. These events have gotten bigger and bigger. They've identified, well over 100 health tech startups. Been really supportive of integrating with hospitals, integrating with health systems, with health plans, which you've been with CirrusMD have now been a pretty big beneficiary of.
Sure, absolutely. So Prime, it really has grown beyond just a meetup, which is what it was to begin with for health IT guys and the people that worked in IT departments of large hospitals, to become like the nexus of this burgeoning digital health ecosystem, with the goal to become the number 1 ecosystem in the next 5 years. And along with our friend Mike Baselli, who's literally building a $250 million facility where many of us will go and have our offices. We've been able to called Catalyst, yes. We've been able to create a really thriving market, and yes, we've directly benefited from that, both in terms of just being able to meet and network and benefit from other companies. But one of our nearest term largest sales opportunities, which will represent 750,000 covered lives, came directly from what Prime and Catalyst and Mike have done. So that interaction to where customers become partners in building this community is absolutely been invaluable.
Right. And so I don't know. So working with this plan, I don't know if you can say the name of it. With
Okay, no.
Okay.
Suffice it to say that when we announce
it's pretty public. No, well, one of them is pretty public knowledge, but
I can talk about our existing client.
Yeah, the existing client.
Yes, but the one that's about to sign, everybody who's listening to this will know the name. I'll just put it that way.
Right.
But anyway, go ahead.
So but with Rocky, tell us a little bit about what you've been doing with Rocky and some of the results you've seen.
Sure. Well, Rocky.
Rocky is the health plan that that Prime also helped pull Rocky in, right? Through some of the initial events, or was that something?
No. Prime.
Okay.
Rocky was something that was but it's an interesting story actually, and how, as an illustration of how telemedicine has begun to in our experience, it's been growing. So Rocky was a lead that we had probably 6 months before I joined the company, and they'd basically gone radio silent. There had been a lot of interest in the initial meeting, and then nothing until one day we got a phone call from the person that we'd been pitching to. He said, "Okay, we're ready. Can you come over tomorrow?" Okay. So we went over tomorrow, that next day. And at the end of that meeting, she said, "Great, I want to get going forward. I need you to go drive out to Grand Junction next week and meet with my suite." So it went from 0 to about 100 miles an hour in the course of a week. It still took 6 months to get the full details of the deal done, but it was clear that they were ready. When they were ready, they were ready. And that's what we're finding now, is that the market has. Last year we had a lot of people, especially in large health systems, to tell us, well, gee, we just want to get some telemedicine.
Right.
Now, this year, people are beginning to want to talk about what they're going to do with that telemedicine and how it might fit into their larger term strategic plans, not just to say they have some telemedicine, but, well, what can we really do with that?
Right.
And how can we use it as a strategic asset for our entire business, especially as we shift from good old-fashioned fee-for-service, which we all know and love so well, to capitated contracts, where we're willing to take risks. It's value-based care, and they realize that telemedicine becomes sort of the right front door to the healthcare experience for many types of things that patients will want. But that telemedicine has to be, the virtual care has to be well integrated with the physical care. It has to be sort of two parts of the same thing, not a separate one-off transaction.
And I'm a little biased, but I mean, you guys do some pretty cool things. I think one is, because it's text, you can really scale the physician time, so that and you can get a better decision faster, I think, because you can get immediate access to that physician, as opposed to other kinds of telemedicine where you get kind of triaged into a phone tree, or you have to wait, or you talk to a nurse first, or other things. So I think getting that immediate access is one of the really cool things about what you're doing.
Well, thank you, Leonard. You really hit on two key points that we are sort of integral to our approach. The first is direct access to the doctor. We believe that there should be no such intermediaries like you described, because the doctor can figure out what's wrong quicker, more efficiently by asking a few key leading questions than any other system and anyone else, because they're trained to do that. That's the core of the diagnostic process, and text messaging allows that. And there's that, but then there's also the ability. And this is something, especially here this week, we've been hearing considerable interest in, and that is the ability to stay in touch. So the doctor, because it's an asynchronous conversation via text, doesn't have to reach a diagnosis at the end of the encounter. He's not getting paid to reach by the encounter, so there's no financial pressure to get to there. But more importantly, the encounter doesn't have to end at the end of 10 minutes. It can go on for as long as the doctor and patient need via text messaging, because it's asynchronous. So the doctor can say, well, gee, I think you're okay right now. You don't need to go in, but I want you to stay in touch, right? And that enables doctors to practice medicine the way that they want. It enables doctors to practice conservatively without having to take the drastic step of sending the patient to an ER or into a physical.
It's also efficient. I mean, we all text now. I mean, some of us a little later than others, but when it was just teenagers doing it like 5-6 years ago, or however long it is, we kind of wondered why, but then once you start doing it, it's so obvious that it's just so efficient. You can, have multiple streams going on at once, and now there's Slack, which is, kind of a different level of the same thing. And, when you can do that in medicine, and you can really scale the physician time in a kind of a unique way too. You get I can stay in touch because it's low cost and low touch, but the physicians can also manage more than one patient at one
Correct.
time.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, our tests have indicated they can manage 5 patients at one time, at least in the remote acute care, the types of deals that we've done with Rocky, for instance. We've stress tested it, and they can handle 5.
Right.
After that, then somebody has to stand in line and wait for for a slot to open up.
So you're working in Colorado, you're working in Texas.
Yes.
You can do telemedicine in Texas when it's value-based. What's next? I mean, you've had some big wins this year. Sounds like you might have another big win coming.
Yep.
And HIMSS', I think, has been great.
We've made some tremendous connections here. There are a lot of people who are interested in what we're doing and our approach, and it's been really exciting. I mean, this is our first HIMSS', and man, we're coming back. I'll tell you that. I think that we've got. Because we believe that all medicine is local, including virtual care, it needs to be well integrated into the physical infrastructure. That implies that we have to do geographic rollouts, meaning we build up a hub in a particular area and then go from there. So we have 5 or 6 such hubs sort of now. So Colorado and Texas, the greater Boston and New England area, Maryland, DC, Virginia, Central Florida, and then sort of now there's 2 in California, sort of Northern California and Southern California. And to be clear, we're only live right now in Texas and in Colorado. We've got big opportunities in both of those states to augment, to significantly increase our covered lives. And then those other areas we're well down the road. So 2016 is going to be a year of taking the model, expanding it in the next key areas, and then taking that credibility, those proof points, that learning, and blowing it out nationally.
Great.
That's the strategy.
All right.
Yeah.
Great. Can't wait to see what happens next.
Well, thank you, Leonard, my friend.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks.
Always a pleasure.
We'll see you back around the neighborhood, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Thanks. Leonard Kish with HealthIT.tv with Chris Saxman of CirrusMD. Thanks.